After my husband's sudden passing, I stayed completely silent about the fact that he had transferred full ownership of our historic Tuscan Vineyard estate to me 2 years earlier. At the funeral reception, my daughter smirked and announced to the gathered winemakers and old family friends, "Mom, your role is over. Pack your things. The guest cottage is fine for you. I'll be running things from the main villa now." She had no idea what surprise was waiting for her the very next morning. The air in the ancient stone villa was thick with the scent of lilies, aged wine, and grief. 200 people moved through the rooms like shadows. Everyone spoke in hushed, respectful tones about my husband, Lorenzo Rossi, the man who had turned a struggling family vineyard into one of Tuscany's most respected estates.
I sat in the high-backed chair by the fireplace, dressed in black, my hands folded in my lap. People came to offer condolences, patting my shoulder, calling me poor Elena. They saw only the quiet wife who arranged the flowers, hosted the dinners, and smiled beautifully in the background for 40 years. None of them knew the truth. My daughter, Sophia, moved through the crowd like she already owned the place. At 34, dressed in an expensive black designer dress, she laughed too loudly, shook hands too firmly, and spoke about modernizing the estate as if her father's body was not still warm in the ground. I watched her stop in front of old Marco, our head vintner for 38 years, and say with a sweet smile, "Don't worry, Marco, I'll be making some big changes. We need to be more competitive. Efficiency first." Marco's face remained polite, but I saw the flicker in his eyes. Later, when most guests had left, Sophia finally approached me. She placed her hand on my shoulder, but there was no warmth in it. "Mom," she said softly, so others could hear, but loud enough for the remaining guests to catch every word. "You've done so much over the years, but it's time for the next generation. I'll move into the main villa tomorrow. You can take the guest cottage by the olive grove. It's smaller, but perfect for one person. And don't worry, I'll make sure you have a generous allowance." She leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper only I could hear. "Your place now is to rest. Leave the business to me." I looked up at her and said nothing. I simply nodded. That night, after the last car had disappeared down the long cypress-lined driveway, I went into Lorenzo's study. The room still smelled of his pipe tobacco and the leather-bound books he loved. I sat in his chair and picked up my old leather notebook, the one filled with phone numbers, birthdays, children's names, and personal stories collected over 4 decades. Then I started making calls. One by one, I reached out to my old ladies' network, the wives, mothers, and daughters who had quietly held the real relationships behind every handshake deal. First, I called Isabella in Piedmont, whose family supplied our finest Nebbiolo grapes. Then Giulia in Chianti, whose small vineyard had been supplying us for 3 generations. Then Francesca in Montalcino, whose Brunello was legendary. I told each of them the same thing. Lorenzo is gone. Sophia is taking over tomorrow. I just wanted to thank you personally for all the years of friendship and trust. Every single one of them understood the real message behind my gentle words. By the time the sun rose over the hills, painting the vineyards in soft gold, I was still sitting in the study, the notebook open on my lap. Sophia arrived at the estate at 9 o'clock sharp, full of energy and importance. She had called a meeting of all the key people, winemakers, cellar masters, suppliers' representatives, and the estate manager. She wanted to show everyone who was now in charge. I watched from the upstairs window as the first trucks approached the main gate. They stopped. Then they turned around. More trucks came down the long road. One after another, they slowed, spoke briefly to the gatekeeper, and reversed. By 10:30, the entire courtyard was silent. No deliveries. No workers moving between the rows. Nothing. Sophia stormed into the villa at 11, her face flushed with rage. "What the hell is going on?" she shouted. "Why are all the trucks leaving? Marco said the suppliers are refusing to ship anything until the situation is resolved. What did you do, Mother?" I descended the stairs slowly and walked into the grand dining room where she had planned her first power meeting. The long oak table was empty except for her laptop and a single folder. I placed the notarized documents on the table in front of her. Sophia snatched them up. Her eyes moved rapidly across the pages. Her face went from red to deathly pale. 2 years ago, she whispered. Dad transferred everything to you 2 years ago? Yes, I said calmly. He knew you. He loved you, Sophia. But he also saw who you really are. He built this vineyard on trust, respect, and relationships that took a lifetime to grow, not on spreadsheets and efficiency targets. She looked up at me, eyes wide with disbelief and growing fury. You planned this. You turned them against me. I shook my head. I didn't turn anyone against you. You did that yourself the moment you disrespected your father's legacy, the people who helped build it, and me, your own mother, in front of everyone who mattered. I stepped closer. Your father always said the vines don't grow because of money. They grow because of care, patience, and soil that has been tended with love for generations. You wanted to rip everything out and plant more profitable varieties. You mocked your grandmother, Lorenzo's mother, calling her just a farmer's wife, while she was the one who taught us how to truly taste the land in every bottle. I picked up the folder and held it gently. Every master vintner and supplier you need has already decided they will not work with you. Not one barrel, not one grape will come until you are gone. Sophia's hands trembled. For the first time in her life, she looked small. By sunset, she was gone. The next morning, I walked through the vineyards at dawn, the way I had done with Lorenzo for 40 years. The workers greeted me with genuine warmth and respect. Old Marco approached me with tears in his eyes. "Signora Elena, the vines are safe again." 3 months later, we released a new flagship wine, a beautiful, elegant Sangiovese blend. I named it Nonna Rosa, after my husband's mother, the woman Sophia had always mocked. It became our most awarded wine that year. The label is simple and beautiful. A single rose vine climbing an old stone wall, and every bottle carries the quiet truth that some things cannot be taken by force or arrogance. They can only be earned through time, respect, and love. The vines are thriving again, and so am I.